Hello. Today I'm going to talk about something that a lot of people want when they move to a foreign country and how I have finally gotten this thing. And that thing is to take advantage of a slower pace of life. People say if you come to France because there's a slower pace of life here, you will benefit from that. Well, I'm going to talk about that today. I'm going to share how I have evolved and finally gotten to that place and how you can prepare yourselves so that you can benefit from this a lot sooner than I did. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Patricia Brooks, and 6.5, coming up on 7 years ago, I moved to the south of France. And it's been an incredible journey. And on this channel, I share that journey with you and thoughts about making a move abroad and how to really get to a place where you feel confident in your abilities to make such a move and actually thrive in your dream country. And today, as I said, I'm going to talk about the slower pace of life here and how I finally got here. And this is a bonus because I am going to make this a ride-along video. So enjoy the scenery. All right, this morning I woke up and I felt incredible. I have a lot to do. The last few months of this year are going to be jam-packed for me because I have piled my plate high. I've got a workshop coming up in October. I've got an exam, the DELF exam, coming up in December that I need to prepare for. I've got my business that I still need to tend to and care for. Got my YouTube channel. I've got so many things going on. But this morning, when I woke up, even though I have a laundry list of things to do, I felt good. I felt calm. I felt excited for my day, and I couldn't wait to get started. Now, that is a big difference from how I used to be. I remember back in 2016, that was the year I wrote my first book called Growing Bold. And I remember how anxious I was to get the book done. I'd worked with an editor, had handed over my draft to her, and she was working on it chapter by chapter. And it seemed like such a slow process. And the months were winding down. It was November, I remember, and thinking, I want to get this book published in 2016. Will she get her edits done? And I felt anxious about it. And I remember waking up and feeling anxious about the book, but also just about life in general. I was going into a 9-to-5 job back then, and I was writing this book. And so I didn't necessarily feel so settled in terms of time. And when I woke up this morning, I said, something is different here. Something is really different here. Now, that was 8 years ago, but it's been a gradual process that I have learned or evolved into being able to slow down and appreciate a slower pace of life. Now, you might say, but Patricia, you've been in France for 6.5 years. Certainly you experienced this sooner than today. And yes, I have, but not in the profound way that I felt this morning. Like, I'm going to have time for everything I need to get done. There's no need for me to feel harried or anxious or jump out of bed like I used to do. And to me, that was a big difference. It has taken some time. I think there is this fallacy for some who think that, I am running this race where in whatever country you're in, if you've got a rat race that you're running in and you just can't seem to find time for yourself to slow down, to catch your breath, there is this fallacy that just being in another country, just living in another country is automatically going to wipe away how you've been for all of these years. And it has taken time for me to slow down. Now, certainly it felt easier to be a little bit slower with my pace of life in the beginning, although it felt uncomfortable because I didn't have a business here. I was just here as a visitor experiencing a new culture. But there were times when I felt like, oh, I should be doing something. I need to be productive. And that was not a comfortable feeling at all. So now that I have so much to do, with so much on my plate, and I will continue to, because I am an ambitious person. I like to accomplish. Achieving an accomplishment is a high core value for me. So I see this as my future, as to have goals and to have things that I am working toward. And maybe not just one or two, but several at the same time. But now I'm at this place where I can do that. I can have several and put my American fast-paced way of life on the back burner and not feel like, I need to be racing and rushing if I'm going to get this done. So how have I been able to do this? Well, I think one of the things that I recognized when I went through coach training way back in 2015 and 2016 was that my relationship with time was not a healthy one. It was a relationship where I thought that I was at the mercy of time, that time was always running out and I was racing to catch up with it. I remember I had a friend when I was in high school and in undergraduate, and she said something that really hit home to me. It was after I had graduated from business school, in fact, and I was working for a tobacco company, Brown & Williamson Tobacco, and I was a marketing intern. And so one of the legs of my internship was to be a field sales rep. That meant that I went to 7-Elevens and Wawa's and I traded out stale cigarette packs and I brought cool t-shirts, and I had this great big Crown Victoria car whose trunk was filled with cigarettes and tobacco and rolling papers. And I remember telling my friend that I no longer felt the need to race down the road. When I was in undergrad, when I was in graduate school, I felt like I was trying to get somewhere and I needed to get there in a hurry. But after landing this really good job that lasted 9 months because the company got sued and they laid off the last hired, but during this time when I had this job, I felt a sense of calm. And I felt like I could just drive down the road at the speed limit and not feel like I had to rush and race around. And what she said was something that I remember, and I will remember always, is that, yeah, of course that you are driving more slowly because you have gotten to a place where you wanted to be. You are no longer trying to get someplace. You have arrived. And she said that, and I thought, oh, okay, that makes sense. And so that is how I felt this morning. It was, oh yeah, I've got a lot to do, but I don't have to jump out of bed and start working on it right away. I can get out of bed and have my morning coffee, go on my morning walk, and then sit down and take care of business, one thing at a time. And while at the end of each day, I still have a lot to do, I don't feel stressed about it. And it's an amazing place to be. So my relationship with time has changed over the years. Before, I felt like I was racing against time. Now I feel like I have enough time, that time is my partner. I have more than enough time to get done what I need to get done. And that is an affirmation that I started using just before I moved to France in 2017. And I remember saying this silently to myself, sometimes aloud. I have more than enough time to get done what I need to get done. Whenever I'd feel that anxiety rise up in me, like, oh, I gotta rush, I gotta race, I gotta do. And it took a while for me to no longer have to say that, right? It's just kind of like, oh, yeah, Patricia, don't feel harried, you've got time. And now it's just a part of who I am. Now, has living in France helped me get there? Absolutely. Absolutely. Being surrounded by people who will take leisurely lunches and dinners, who will sit at sidewalk cafes for hours with friends. That has helped me because I can see myself as being an anomaly when I am racing around or not taking time to do things with friends or slowing down and enjoying where I'm living, right? Because it really feels like I'm an anomaly. So that has helped, but it wasn't immediate, and it is something that I had to evolve into. My affirmation, I have more than enough time to get done what I need to get done. My ability to now prioritize things and recognize that the end of this year is going to be a busy one for me and that something might have to give. And so I might have to prioritize things. I am in the process of writing my third book, which has taken up more time than I had anticipated. I finished my first draft the end of January. I just finished the second draft, I guess, the end of May, and I'm wrapping up doing revisions on that second draft. And here we are at the end of August. And I truly had wanted to publish this book this year. But now I'm recognizing that maybe I am going to have to prioritize that and delay that until next year. I also am interested in potentially finding an agent and finding a publishing house that will publish it instead of going the self-publishing route, because I could self-publish again. And there's more than enough time between now and the end of the year for me to do that. But I've never had the experience of being published by somebody else. And I think that I'm ready to tackle that. So that could be something that I could get started this year, but then that would take some things off of me and I could let that process take care of itself next year. That could be something I could prioritize and put a little bit further down the list. And be okay with it, because I have put a good faith effort in to get this book done this year. And the fact of the matter is, it's better than it was back in January. It is way better. So taking my time with it, spending the time that was necessary was important. I could have raced, I could have gotten it done. It could be done already, but it would not be in the state that it is today. So those are the ways that I've been able to manage to get to a place where I feel at peace with time. Really, I feel like time is my partner, and that if I use it wisely, if I don't run about, race about, feeling anxious, I'm going to be more productive in the end. And I'm going to wake up in the morning feeling good. I can wake up not feeling stressed, even though I may have a lot to do, and tackle it in a sane way. Okay, so what does this mean for you? Well, how do you view time? What is your relationship with time? You can then ask yourself, well, what do I want my relationship with time to be? Because where you are today might not be where you want to be tomorrow, but knowing where you are can inform the things you need to do. So, is it that you feel like you're racing against time, that it's not your friend, that you're running out of time? Or do you feel like time is on your side, time is your partner, and you feel good about time? And depending on what side you end up on and how you want to experience time, then you can decide to choose an affirmation that is how you want to experience time, what you want your relationship with time to be, and then repeat it anytime that you feel, however you feel when you feel like you're racing against time, when you feel like there's never enough time. And in that way, gradually you can start to change that relationship and get to a place where you can experience peace around time. Now, this is a great thing to do, actually, even before you make the move. If you are interested in moving to a place that has a slower pace of life, because I'm going to tell you, saying that you want a slower pace of life and then being in a place that has a slower pace of life can be challenging. It can be challenging when you want to go to the post office and it's 10 minutes to noon and the post office is going to shut down for lunch because the postal workers need to go home and have lunch with their family, right? That can be frustrating. But if you've already cultivated a different relationship with time, then you can embrace that. You can enjoy that sooner. So that is what I wanted to share with you today. I know that you may be interested in making a move abroad, and you might even be feeling very overwhelmed about it, not knowing where to start. I want to go on a scouting trip. How do I plan a scouting trip? If these are some of the things that you are telling yourself, then I've got some really interesting news for you. If you're watching this before October 13th, 2024, Christopher Wells and I are putting on an in-person workshop in Valencia, Spain, where you can come for this all-day workshop and get out of being overwhelmed, where you can change your relationship with your move abroad planning. So if you're interested in that, go to cleverexpat.com/workshop and you can learn all about that there and sign up. I hope to see you there. If you're watching this and it is past October 13th, 2024, or you're unable to make it to our event in person, I would like to have a complimentary discovery call with you to understand a little bit more about your plans and why you might be feeling overwhelmed. And if one of my coaching and mentoring programs could help you to make your move with more ease. So if that's the case, then be sure to go to thecouragecatalyst.com/future expat and schedule your complimentary discovery call with me today. Okay. So that is all I have for you today. I hope that you enjoyed this ride-along video. I hope that you enjoyed hearing about how my relationship with time has evolved and how you can change your relationship with time so that you can feel less stressed, less anxious, and more at peace with time. If you enjoyed this, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with friends, subscribe if you have not already, and I will see you again next time. Bye for now.